Hello, and yes, welcome to yet another episode of Come On, Sis. And this episode will be brought to you by Girl by Jamaica Kincaid is How Women Train Each Other. Before I dive into this, I actually want to read this poem to you. Back in, I think, middle school, I had heard this poem. It never left my head, but I don't think I ever fully understood what the poem was trying to say. But I think now, here in 2021, over a decade later, it makes sense. So let me read this to you, and then we're going to talk a bit about it. The whole thing, of course. Here we go. Wash the white clothes on Monday and put them on the stone heap. Wash the colored clothes on Tuesday and put them on the clothesline to dry. Don't walk barehead in the hot sun. Cook pumpkin fritters in very hot sweet oil. Soak your little cloths right after you take them off. When buying cotton to make yourself a nice blouse, be sure that it doesn't have gum in it, because that way it won't hold up well after a wash. Soak saltfish overnight before you cook it. Is it true that you sing Benna in Sunday school? Always eat your food in such a way that it won't turn someone else's stomach. On Sundays, try to walk like a lady and not like the you are so bent on becoming. Don't sing Benna in Sunday school. You mustn't speak to wharf rat boys, not even to give directions. Don't eat fruits on the street. Flies will follow you. But I don't sing Benna on Sundays at all, and never in Sunday school. This is how to sew on a button. This is how to make a buttonhole for the button you have just sewed on. This is how to hem a dress when you see the hem coming down, and so to prevent yourself from looking like the I know you are so bent on becoming. This is how you iron your father's khaki shirt so that it doesn't have a crease. This is how you iron your father's khaki pants so that they don't have a crease. This is how you grow okra far from the house, because okra tree harbors red ants. When you are growing dasheen, make sure it gets plenty of water, or else it makes your throat itch when you are eating it. This is how you sweep a corner. This is how you sweep a whole house. This is how you sweep a yard. This is how you smile to someone you don't like too much. This is how you smile to someone you don't like at all. This is how you smile to someone you like completely. This is how you set up a table for tea. This is how you set up a table for dinner. This is how you set up a table for dinner with an important guest. This is how you set up a table for lunch. This is how you set a table for breakfast. This is how to behave in the presence of men who don't know you very well. This way, they won't recognize immediately the I have warned you against becoming. Be sure to wash every day, even if it is with your own spit. Don't squat down to play marbles. You are not a boy, you know. Don't pick people's flowers. You might catch something. Don't throw stones at blackbirds, because it might not be a blackbird at all. This is how to make a bread pudding. This is how to make dokuna. This is how to make pepper pot. This is how to make a good medicine for a cold. This is how to make a good medicine to throw away a child before it even becomes a child. This is how to catch a fish. This is how to throw back a fish you don't like. And that way something bad won't fall on you. This is how to bully a man. This is how a man bullies you. This is how to love a man. And if this doesn't work, there are other ways. And if they don't work, don't feel too bad about giving up. This is how to spit up in the air if you feel like it. And this is how to move quick so that it doesn't fall on you. This is how to make ends meet. Always squeeze bread to make sure it's fresh. But what if the baker won't let me feel the bread? You mean to say that after all, you are really going to be the kind of woman who the baker won't let near the bread? That was published in 1978, just over 20 years ago. Actually, over 50 years ago. So, to dive right into it, this is how women train each other. This was a conversation between, well, you know what, more so a monologue between a mother and her daughter, but This is exactly how women treat each other today. This is how they talk to one another. This is how they monologue to one another. Not a dialogue, a monologue. If you notice, most of what has been said in the poem is the mother not talking to her daughter, but telling her what her daughter is, and merely describing things that if she's not being who the mother says she is, you can do these things to pass the time until it's time to be yourself. I was making a noise, but the noise was the word, and I'm going to spell it out, S-L-U-T. That's what that catching breath sound I was making during the reading of the poem was, so as to not say it obviously. But the entire message in the poem is more so about what the mother is telling the daughter what she is, without telling her it. One of the most subtle ways is to suggest that she is. How did she do it? She told her as if she was trying to keep her from becoming the thing. And if you notice the amount of times that she comes back to that phrase about her daughter becoming whatever it is that she supposedly doesn't want, she escalates. She escalates the context in the situation so as to have her daughter buy into the idea that that's exactly what she is, without telling her to become it. You hear only two objections from the daughter. But the mother isn't asking questions about those things. Just like I said in the last episode, you're not supposed to question the energy. You're not supposed to want to individualize your energy when a woman is teaching you something. You're supposed to listen. Ladies, girlfriends, come on, sis. This is how you communicate with each other. Very domineering, very dominating, very overpowering. And that's just woman to woman. So the most powerful thing in this poem, and the reason why it even came up for me, was actually near the end, as far as the baker and the touching of the bread. So she's suggesting the entire time, even though it's, as if you're reading the poem, it's quite overt. She's suggesting to the entire time that her daughter is something that appeals to every man's sense, not just because he appeals to it, but because she just has a natural affinity to want to appeal to a man's sensibilities. But then near the end, she's asking the daughter, wait a minute, so after everything I've told you, you mean to tell me that you're not going to be what I told you you are? You mean to tell me that you're not interested in doing what I told you? You mean to tell me that you're willing to stand up for yourself? You mean to tell me that your ability to appeal to someone's sensibilities doesn't exist? Who are you? What are you? And not only is that message being sent, but the very question that the daughter asks, as far as what if the baker won't let me near the bread, that is how you know that her daughter bought in to the idea that her mother was trying to send the entire time. That's what the mother was waiting for. The mother was waiting for that moment. Let me just keep pushing the envelope until she buys in. How did she buy in? She questioned. She questioned the context, not just the energy that the mother was trying to bring along, but the context, the very specific context. Because if you have to question it, you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to bring light to something in case you happen upon that circumstance. So her mother knew she won. Her mother knew, got her, got my daughter. She might not have been. It doesn't matter if she wasn't whatever she believed herself to be. The point is, she asked the kind of question I know lets me know who she is. She was just pushing the hope to see her daughter would bring out that very thing that she put inside. And yep, her daughter brought that energy out. So this poem makes me realize, oh, I see. Even if women don't have children, this is how women train women. You all talk to each other just like this. You keep pushing the envelope. You keep approaching the context. You keep suggesting the energy of who someone is. You don't support the individual. You support the energy surrounding the individual. And you only respond to them properly. You only respond to them as if they were supposed to have some self-respect about who you want them to be. Because it doesn't make sense otherwise. I guess the one true kicker out of all of this too is that a man has nothing to do with this entire interaction. In so much that everything that you're training a woman to do is what a man never said he ever wanted. He's not a part of this conversation. He never said he wanted it. But for some reason, women teach women how to do things men never say they ask for. You find it out, yeah, sure, but did you ever ask? You don't. You don't want to know. Of course you don't. We know who you want. We know who you want on your side. You want other women on your side. And I'm going to touch on this a bit later, but I'm also going to touch on this just a bit now. Because come on, sis. It gets weird. It gets really weird when we start to look at the fact that what you want your sister, your girlfriend to become is actually what you're attracted to. Come on, sis. What is that? You want her to do what? For who? If a man didn't say that he wanted it, but you figure out somehow that maybe he does, through what kind of experiment? What have you been doing? Where did you get this information? Another lady told you? You're going to listen to another lady about a man? What have you two been engaging in to figure this kind of stuff out? What exactly are you guys sharing between each other that lets you figure out what sensibilities exist anyways? Just exactly how close are you, ladies, to your girlfriends? Come on, sis. It's getting really weird. But this is going to be for another episode. Who knows when I'm going to talk about that, but come on, sis. This is how you train other ladies. And, well, I'm not so sure. This is, yeah, come on, sis. Come on.